I'm gonna show you exactly how I made my first $1 million and how you can do it too, including year by year, exactly how much money I made after quitting my corporate job, because there's two principles you need to know if you wanna make $1 million early in life. And the first principle you need to understand is the idea of exponential income growth. You see, every year after quitting my corporate job, my income doubled. Now the thing is, if you have a corporate job, that's not gonna happen. In my corporate job, I was making around $80,000 a year. After taxes and everything, that was about $50,000. So it would take me 20 years in my corporate job to make $1 million. But that's assuming I spent $0. If I even spent $20,000 a year to pay for rent and food and all that kind of stuff, it would take me 33 years. Now, of course, with the corporate job, you do get a raise every year potentially, but it's gonna be something like a 3 to 5% raise at the end of the year, which is not very much. But if you're an entrepreneur or self-employed, you could potentially double your income every single year. And that's what I've been able to do since I quit my corporate job. But that's not to say it's easy. I struggled a lot to make my first $1 million. But here's the key. If I had to do it over again, I could probably do it in 1 to 2 years using the principles I'm gonna teach you in this video. So hit the like button, because I'm gonna be sharing everything that I've struggled to learn over the last 8 years for free right now with you. So hit that like button and let's get started. Because here's one of the important things to note. I went from making $80,000 a year at my corporate job down to nothing. The day that I quit my corporate job, I was literally making nothing the next day. And that's another problem with a corporate job. As soon as you stop working at your job, you stop getting paid. I'm gonna teach you some different strategies that I've used to build businesses, to build assets that keep making me money even if I stop working on them. And I'll be honest with you, after quitting my corporate job, I ended up having a major panic attack. I even had to check myself into the emergency room. So again, this is not to say that it's gonna be easy every single step of the way. And in my first year after quitting my corporate job, my online business ended up making $40,000, which sounds good, but then after you subtract all the expenses and all the different startup fees, it was only $10,000 in profit. And I had a partner in this business, so I ended up splitting that profit 50-50. So my first year after quitting my corporate job, I only took home $5,000. So I went from making $80,000 a year down to $5,000 a year. Now things got a little better next year, but before we go on to year number 2, let me explain what that business was. So when I had a corporate job, at first I loved my corporate job because I'm making all this easy money, but then as time went on, I realized that there was no incentive for me to work hard, and I ended up getting really good at doing as little work as possible because, as I mentioned, if I worked my butt off, I'd get a 5% raise, but if I barely did any work, I would get a 3% raise. So I ended up getting really depressed in my corporate job. I hated where I was living, I hated my job, I hated everything in my life, got really depressed, and then I found this book called The 4-Hour Workweek. And in this book, it talks about how if you can create an online business and systematize it and automate it using things like virtual assistants and different software programs, you can use your business to make money, and since it's automated, you can spend your time doing whatever you want to do and the money keeps coming in. This is called passive income. And the truth about passive income is it takes a lot of work up front. But once you create an online business, once you systematize it and automate it, you can keep making money even if you're just hanging out at the beach. So I became obsessed with this idea and ended up quitting my corporate job cold turkey, and I started an online dance clothing company with my mom. My mom had been sewing custom dance clothing for years, and she had this idea about selling basic dance clothing pieces in lots of different colors online. So I decided to partner with her on this business, and we started this company. And as I mentioned, the first year, $40,000 in sales, about $10,000 in profit, which was $5,000 for each of us. And in the next year, we did about $200,000 on our website. And by the way, if you're looking to start your own online business or own online website, sites like Shopify or WooCommerce make it very easy. I'll link a video down below going step by step how you can create your own online business. But the other way, and probably an even more powerful way to sell products online, is using Amazon. You can actually sell your own products on Amazon. And in this year, we just started dabbling with Amazon, and we did about $4,000 in sales on Amazon. And of course, there's a lot of costs and fees associated with running this online business. Plus, I didn't get to keep all the profit. My mom, my business partner, got to take about half of it. So in total, in this second year, I ended up making about $15,000. So again, I went from making $80,000 a year down to $15,000 in my second year as an entrepreneur. But in year 2, one very important thing I did is I actually joined a mastermind of other e-commerce sellers so I could learn the tips and tricks on how to grow my business. And this is one of the most important principles that you can get from this entire video, is if you want to learn a skill, join a group of other people that are also trying to learn that skill and bounce ideas off them. Learn the knowledge that they have and that they've learned and apply it to your own business or whatever thing that you're trying to learn. This is the idea of the mastermind, where you and a group of other people get together and put your minds together to solve a problem. And you're going to get results so much faster if you have a mastermind or if you have a group of like-minded people trying to tackle the challenge that you're trying to overcome. And I paid a few $100 to be part of this mastermind, and I was scared. Was it going to be worth it? Was it not going to be worth it? And it was worth way more than the amount of money I paid. On top of that, because I was part of this mastermind, I ended up talking with someone that had a podcast in the e-commerce space. And he said, hey, I enjoy having our conversations. Why don't you come and be a co-host of this e-commerce podcast? And in all honesty, that changed my life. And it's probably a big reason why right now you're watching me on this YouTube channel. It's why I was able to create this YouTube channel. And you're gonna see that that little domino led to so much more success. And in year 3, my online business started to grow. We made $400,000 on our own website and another $10,000 on Amazon. But because I was now a co-host of this e-commerce podcast, I also had a new stream of income, which was consulting. And I made $1,500 that year in consulting. And some of that money came from an online course that my co-host and I, we created this online course teaching people how to grow their e-commerce businesses. So some of the money's from that, but some of the money was from one-on-one conversations I would have with people, teaching them what I knew about e-commerce. And after all the cost of doing business, money paid to partners, in my 3rd year as an entrepreneur, I made around $37,000. So here it is, 3 years after I quit my corporate job, and I'm still making less than half what I was in my corporate job. And I'll be completely honest with you, I was nervous. I was really scared. Did I make a big mistake? But in my heart, I knew I could never go back to the corporate world, that I had so much more freedom. But one thing I haven't been talking about is in this first few years, I was doing a lot of traveling. I first moved from Chicago, which is where my corporate job was, to Miami. And then after that, I went back home for a little while to my parents' house, but then I went to Peru for a few months. I went to Colombia for a few months. I went to Brazil, lived there for a few months, went to Argentina, lived there for a few months. And the truth is, it was a lot of fun living in all these different countries. I traveled around Asia, but my piece of advice is if you're trying to grow a business, don't go traveling a bunch. Find one location and stay there. Get in a routine. It's really hard to grow a business when you're traveling at the same time. Now, once you have an established business and you have the systems and it's automated, that's a really good time to start traveling. And that's what I've been doing for the last few months. I've been traveling to Mexico. I'm staying at a beach house right now with my parents for a week. Now, all my different businesses are automated and they're still making me money. I am still recording some YouTube videos, but basically all I have to do for my YouTube videos is hit record, and then I send it to my team of virtual assistants that edit it, they post it to my YouTube channel, they write articles about it, they do all the social media. So I've created these systems that make it so I do very little work and get a really big outcome. And again, I'm not saying any of this to brag, I'm only sharing this to show you what is possible, because as you've seen, I struggled a lot in my first few years as an entrepreneur, and I didn't know if what I've been able to do was even possible. And I wish someone could have went back in time and shown me exactly what was possible and how to do it. And so that's what I'm trying to do in this video right here. Some other things that are important to note in year 3 of me being a full-time entrepreneur is I actually started a YouTube channel, which is another thing I'd highly recommend. If you're going to become an entrepreneur, start a YouTube channel, start TikTok, share the experience with people. And anytime you learn something new, anytime you crack the code, share it with people. And you don't have to be a millionaire to start a YouTube channel and to start sharing your knowledge. Even early on in my entrepreneurial career, I had figured things out that other people had not figured out. So I was able to share that with people and I was able to start making money. Another very important principle that a lot of millionaires know is the average millionaire has 7 different sources of income. And you're gonna see in this video, I have multiple different sources of income, but it didn't start that way. It's not like I quit my corporate job and tried to start 7 sources of income. I started with 1 source of income, then I moved on to a second, then I moved on to a third, and it kept building from there. And an example of this is in year 4, I ended up making around $1,000 in affiliate commission. Now, affiliate commission is where you tell people about a product or a service, and if they buy that product or service using your link or your coupon code or somehow buying it through you, you get a kickback from the company. And in my 3rd year as a full-time entrepreneur, I started the YouTube channel where I was teaching people how to start an online business. And one of the steps of starting an online business is signing up for a site like Shopify or WooCommerce. And the truth is, you need to pay for one of these sites if you want to legitimately start an online business. And so I made around $1,000 talking about Shopify. Since then, I do think that WooCommerce is actually a very good option. It's a little bit cheaper, though you do still have to pay for hosting. I'll put a link down below to my favorite hosting company as well as a discount code. I also have a free free 14-day trial with Shopify and the best price you can find around. And that right there is an example of affiliate commission. If people use my links, sign up for the service, which both of these services I highly recommend, and I personally only recommend services that I use myself that I actually think are high quality. If someone uses my link, I get a kickback from these companies. And in my 4th year as an entrepreneur, made around $1,000 in affiliate commission. And this is one of the advantages of having a YouTube channel, of having social media, of having some kind of a following, is you can promote products that you really believe in and make some money from those products. And you don't really have to do that much work. It's really passive because Shopify and WooCommerce have to actually do the work of providing the service. All I'm doing is pointing people in the right direction. I also made around $5,000 in consulting, and a lot of this came from a course that I created called the 25K e-commerce profit plan. Basically, it was everything I learned in my first 4 years of being a full-time e-commerce entrepreneur. I packaged it up and sold it as an online course, and probably made a few $1,000s from that, and then another few $1,000s from just one-on-one consulting. And I made so many mistakes in selling my first online course, but I'll save that for a future video. And in year 4, my online business did over $570,000 in sales, and we did another $25,000 or so on Amazon. And for this year, after all the different costs, fees, money paid to partners, I ended up making a profit of around $60,000, which still, year 4, I'm not even making as much money as my corporate job, but don't worry, things are about to get a lot better. And in year 5, things changed in a massive way because I found out about the power of Amazon FBA. And if you don't know what Amazon FBA is, it's a way for you to sell products on the Amazon platform. But what's special about this is you send the products that you want to sell on Amazon into their warehouse, and then when you get a sale, Amazon picks, packs, and ships it out to the customer. If you do this, it allows your product to be Prime eligible, meaning that people shopping on Amazon can get your product within just 2 days of purchasing it, which also means that the sales of your product are going to skyrocket because most people only buy products that are Prime eligible. And why this is so important is because Amazon is a $1.6 trillion company. 50% of all e-commerce sales happen on the Amazon platform. And last year alone, they did over $400 billion in e-commerce sales on their platform. Not to mention the fact that they have over 112 million Prime customers. That's a lot of people that potentially could buy products that you're selling on Amazon. And what makes this doubly such a great opportunity is because they fulfill all the different products that are purchased. That means that you could travel around the world, that you could be living wherever you want to live, and as long as your products get to the Amazon warehouse, they'll ship them out, meaning that this is a great way to start a legitimate passive income business. And in year 5, I started a new business specifically targeted at selling products on Amazon, specifically this product right here. And the truth is, after struggling for so long with our own e-commerce business and primarily selling products on our own e-commerce website, I wanted to learn from the mistakes that I'd been making and start a new business. Because with the dance clothing company, we were doing all our own manufacturing. So I wanted to start a business where someone else could manufacture the product. We also had a ton of different SKUs, a ton of different options of products that people could buy. I wanted to start a business with only one product and only one option. And because we were doing all our own manufacturing, I didn't really know exactly what our profit per unit was on all the different products. I had an idea, but it wasn't an exact number. And by having someone else manufacture the product, I knew exactly what my profit per unit was, which meant that I could spend more money on advertising and have a better idea of how much money we're actually making in this business. So I had this idea to sell a premium nut butter product. And I had grown up eating peanut butter. And then at some point I realized that, oh, organic peanut butter is better for you. And then I realized that almond butter was even better for you than the organic peanut butter. But I saw that there was a hole in the market. There was no premium product. And specifically, there was nothing targeted at adults, people that were on the go. So I decided to sell a product that came in little squeeze pouches, specifically targeted at the athletic community, people on the keto diet, the paleo diet, the Whole30 diet, people really looking to have the best tasting and the healthiest product possible. So I did a lot of experimenting, trying different recipes at home. At the same time, I started an Instagram account and started sharing with people that I had this idea for a product. I ended up getting a decent amount of followers, and I had an email sign up. So people would give me their email in exchange for a chance to win a free box of this product. After a lot of marketing, I ended up launching a Kickstarter campaign, telling people that I have this idea for a product, and if we can raise at least $10,000, that I would start this company. And basically in exchange for them donating some money to help me start this business, that in a few months when I did my production run, they would get a box of the product. And I ended up raising over $10,000 in the first 3 days alone. And in total, I ended up raising over $15,000 on Kickstarter and Indiegogo combined, which was enough money to pay for most of my initial production run. But I ended up having to cash out a decent chunk of my 401k to pay for the rest of the production. I ended up launching this product in November of 2017 and ended up making about $15,000 on Amazon. But as you're gonna see, this product ends up blowing up in year 6. And January of year 6, which was 2018, I ended up making over $30,000 in revenue just in January, over $10,000 in profit. But let's get back to year 5. In total on Amazon FBA, including my other business, we did over $129,000 in sales. We also did over $500,000 on our own website. Plus I did over $6,000 in affiliate commission and over $11,000 in consulting. And in year 5, I also launched a Facebook ads course and I launched a mastermind where now I was the host. People paid me money to be part of this mastermind. I basically organized it, and every week I'd go in there and I'd be the host of the mastermind, connecting all these different e-commerce entrepreneurs. And what was really amazing about this is I got to learn a ton. So not only were they paying me to be part of this mastermind, I got to learn all the new tips, tricks, and tactics for selling products online. I also forgot to mention in year 5, I became an affiliate for a site called onlinejobs.ph, which is the best place to find a virtual assistant. And this is another one of my top hacks. If you want to systematize your business, if you really want to grow your business, hire a virtual assistant. You can hire people in the Philippines for $2, $3, $4 an hour that are extremely grateful for the job, and they'll do work that you're currently doing for $2 to $3 an hour, which will free up your time and free up your mind to be able to focus on higher leverage things. So if you find yourself doing things over and over again in your business, stop doing them, hire someone else to do them. And this is one of the biggest hacks I have. I have a full 1.5-hour tutorial on exactly how to hire a virtual assistant. I'll link down below. So in total, after all the different costs, fees, paying my business partners, in year 5, I did over $80,000 in profit. So finally, after being a full-time e-commerce entrepreneur for 5 years, I'm making as much money as I was in my corporate job. But things are about to get a lot better. And one other crazy thing that happened in year 5 is I made $133 from YouTube ads. And what's really interesting about this is I've had a YouTube channel at this point for a few years, but I had the YouTube ads turned off. And the reason for this was when I was a kid, I was messing around with Google AdSense and I ended up getting banned. So when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't even really think about running ads because I'm like, oh, I'm banned. I don't want to deal with that. So what ended up happening in year 5 is Google said, you're not allowed to put any links in your YouTube video if you're not running ads. You basically have to be part of the YouTube ads program to be allowed to put links in your video. And I was making all my money on my YouTube channel from affiliate commission, which requires links, and people going to my online courses, which also requires links. So I freaked out because this basically meant that my entire YouTube channel, my income source from this was cut off because I didn't think I was gonna be able to be part of the Google AdSense program because I was banned when I was a kid. So I spent weeks freaking out, trying to figure out what to do. But I eventually realized that there was a solution. And what's crazy about this is if it wasn't for this major problem of YouTube saying, hey, you're not allowed to add links anymore, I never would have turned on YouTube ads on my channel. And as you're gonna see, because of this major problem that happened, I've since made hundreds of thousands of dollars from YouTube ads. And that's another principle I wanna make very clear, is sometimes the absolute worst things that could happen end up leading into some of the greatest things that could possibly happen. And I see this over and over again. For instance, the fact that the dance clothing company had so many problems and just wasn't as profitable as I want felt like such a bad thing, but it ended up leading to me creating Performance Nut Butter, which has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So keep this in mind. Entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. It's gonna feel like everything is falling apart, and then you're gonna get an insight. Something's gonna happen. Something that you didn't think was possible is gonna lead into something absolutely amazing. Like me thinking that my YouTube channel was dead and was not gonna be profitable for me anymore actually ended up leading to me making way more money. And in year 6, I ended up making over $600,000 from Amazon FBA. $365,000 or so was from Performance Nut Butter, my new company. And what's crazy about this is of the $365,000, after all the costs, fees, and everything, I did over $120,000 profit on Amazon just from this one business. I also did over $400,000 on our own websites, plus another $5,000 on YouTube ads. Again, I wouldn't have even ran YouTube ads if it wasn't for the catastrophe of YouTube taking away my ability to put links on the YouTube videos. I also did over $20,000 in affiliate commission and another $14,000 in consulting. And during year 6, I actually launched a Google Ads course because Google Ads is how I grew my first business, grew my first online website. At this point, I'd done a few $1 million in sales sales from Google Ads. And I'll put a link down below to an updated version of that Google Ads course, as well as a complete free tutorial on Google Ads. It's like a 30-minute YouTube video I put together. One of the best videos I've ever put together. I'll put that link down below. And in total, my profit from year 6 was around $160,000. As you can see so far, every year, my income has basically doubled. Again, this is another one of those principles about entrepreneurship that nobody really talks about. You have the potential to double, triple, quadruple your income every single year. You can't do that in a corporate job. And this is what I call exponential income growth. This is such an important principle if you want to become a millionaire early in life. But the other principle that's going to start to play a major role is this idea of creating assets. A lot of people think about buying an asset. For instance, you might buy a house. That's an asset. Well, first off, a lot of times a house doesn't actually make you money, especially if you're living in it. Now, if you do buy a house and you're renting it out or you're using Airbnb to make money, that's great. But the problem with that is you need money to be able to buy that asset. What I'm going to talk about here is creating an asset. And this is what allowed me to become a millionaire before I was 30. And in year 7, I did over $600,000 on Amazon FBA. Over $400,000 came from Performance Nut Butter, my main business at the time. And I did over $150,000 profit with just that one product on Amazon. And what was crazy about this is I really wasn't doing that much work for this business. Basically, my only job was to talk to the manufacturers, make sure that the product got created, and then it got shipped into the Amazon warehouse. Once it was in the Amazon warehouse, people would go to Amazon, buy my product, Amazon would ship it out. I didn't have to do that much work. And what was really cool about this is I could do this work from anywhere in the world. So I had a lot of free time to spend doing things that I love doing. It also gave me more free time to focus on things like this YouTube channel and just other passion projects that I had. And on my own website, which included both the BeDancewear website and the Performance Nut Butter website, did over $400,000 in sales. Now, another crazy thing that happened in year 7 was I made over $40,000 from YouTube ads, plus another $47,000 in affiliate commission. And this year I made over $100,000 in consulting. Now, a lot of the money I made from consulting came from a group training program I have where I teach people step by step the method that I use to create an Amazon FBA business. And this program has over 100 videos showing people step by step how to create their own Amazon business. Plus it comes with weekly Q&A calls and some one-on-one time with me. So for anyone looking to start their own Amazon business, it's a really good way to fast track your success on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. I'll also put a link down below to a completely free Amazon training course that I have. Now, something else I should mention is I technically became a millionaire in year 6, and this is something not a lot of people talking about because of this principle of creating an asset. You see, when I created my Amazon business, it was an asset that makes me money every single day, every single year. And what's really important to understand is that asset actually has value, that if I wanted to walk away from it, I could actually sell it. Again, if you have a corporate job and you walk away from it, you make $0 the day that you quit. If you walk away from an online business, you can sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And both my online businesses and my YouTube channel had value. If I wanted to sell any of these, I could. Now, in all honesty, if I wanted to sell my YouTube channel, it would have been a lot harder, but still I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from my YouTube channel and these different assets, because technically my businesses had a value when you combine it with how much money I had made that together would be over $1 million. But for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna talk about $1 million cash. And in year 7, I did over $250,000 profit when you subtract out all my different costs, fees, and money paid to partners. And interestingly enough, in year 8, I ended up selling a majority stake in my Amazon business, ended up getting around $66,000 cash, which doesn't sound like a lot of money for a business that was making so much money, but I explained why I sold the business and why this deal of selling the business is worth over $1 million in this video right here. And part of the reason I sold the business and why I think this deal is worth over $1 million is I actually had an 8-figure Amazon seller come in and say that he was gonna grow my business and sell it for a lot more money than it was currently worth. And on top of that, there's a lot of value in the knowledge that this 8-figure Amazon seller has already given to me and is gonna continue to give to me. And in year 8, on top of the $66,000 I made from selling a majority stake in my Amazon business, I also made over $300,000 in Amazon sales from my different businesses, plus over $200,000 in sales from my own online websites. And something crazy happened this year. I did over $192,000 in YouTube ads, which blows my mind. Again, if this really negative thing of YouTube basically saying I'm not allowed to add links to my videos anymore would have never happened, I never would have made this $192,000. I also did over $124,000 in affiliate commission and over $280,000 in consulting. And at this point, I'm making more money helping other people start their online businesses than I am from my own online business. But it's because I spent years and years in the trenches learning all the different tactics and tips. So now I'm able to help people start their business. And what's really cool about this now is I can make one video that can reach hundreds of thousands of people. I can help a lot more people at a lot bigger scale than I could when it was just my own business. But one of the things I'm doing is partnering with people in my Amazon FBA program, helping them create their own business, taking a small percentage of their business. For instance, I helped my girlfriend create a company called Vino Cards. Basically, it's a wine course in flashcard form. It teaches you everything you need to know about wine. I also partnered with a student from my Amazon FBA program to create a product called Cocktail Cards, which is basically flashcards teaching you how to create different cocktails. He's made over $40,000 just in pre-sales alone. Just on Indiegogo, he's done over $40,000. He just launched his product on Amazon. I'll put a link down below, and I'll do a complete video talking about how much he made in his first 2 weeks of selling on Amazon that I'll link right here. And in total, in year 8, I did over $600,000 in profit. And I haven't even talked about all my different investments. For instance, I got into Bitcoin in 2013. I also have some money in stocks and different things like that. But in my first 8 years of being a full-time entrepreneur, I did over $1.3 million in profit. That's not even including all the money I made from Bitcoin and stocks and other things like that. But right now, I think Amazon FBA is the best way to create a legitimate passive income business. And I created a complete free course on how you can create your own Amazon business that you can get just by clicking right here. It's an entire playlist of YouTube videos showing you step-by-step how to create your own Amazon FBA business. So click on that link so you can create your own passive income business so you can live the life of your dreams.